Hey everyone, we have Roos and Meghan Levota here, and we're going to do a typology interview with both of them because they have almost identical functions. The only difference is that Roos is using feminine TE and Meghan is using masculine FE, and those are the two extroverted functions that get mistyped or misunderstood a lot because feminine TE seems like FE sometimes, and masculine FE gets confused for TE sometimes. So it'll be cool to maybe compare them. So maybe Roos, why don't you tell us how you see feminine TE in your life?
Oh, I hope that was not the one to start. No, I was just thinking about this because I figured you were probably going to ask me this, but it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things at the same time. TE, I think, is always looking for more input from the tribe, just like on their opinions. But with the especially the feminine part of it is, I think I just made sense of it, that it's gathering all the tribe opinions, but then not wanting to push too hard on them. Like I wanna help people see them by making them come to the same understanding I have come to, but not by outright telling them, here's the tea. I want to like gently guide them towards an understanding themselves. Like it's coming from within them, like from their DI, because I see DI as masculine, I guess. But I'm still gonna try to make them see the TE.
Yeah. So how does that feel like for you if you feel like someone has come to the wrong conclusion, but you're maybe trying to guide them politely, maybe with the feminine TE? Like how is that experience like for you?
Yeah. That's tough, definitely. If they outright tell me, I think it's this way, I feel more comfortable telling them, I think it's this way, therefore you're wrong. When they don't, I think I'll still be somewhat confrontational and say, well, here's how I see it, but this is just how I see it, you know? And then tell them my logic. But then it's definitely harder. And if I don't feel like I'm like, if I don't feel comfortable doing that, if I don't feel like the context or like the situation is like safe to do that, then I won't then I won't so easily. So how's that for you?
Well, for me, I don't really care if people agree with me or not, but I do care if it seems like someone has sort of summed up what they think that my perspective is without taking the time to think through like what I actually think. And so as long as you could remain respectful of different opinions and remain curious, I don't feel the need to convince anyone. Like even like, so I do like digital marketing, and I've been starting a business with my ENFJ friend, who I believe is feminine FE. But my main like strategy with that is that there are people out there who need this service, and so all I have to do is be there, and I don't need to convince someone of like a truth. This is just an example, but like I don't want to convince anyone of a truth. But I'm there, like if the need's there, then I'm there. So I want to like communicate like the value of it, because like, I don't know, I guess I feel like it's kind of impossible. I tend to think it's impossible to change people's minds in certain ways. So like, I guess I will definitely let someone know if I disagree with them, but I'm probably not gonna want to guide them toward thinking what I think. I will just stop the conversation if they don't know how to respect other points of view. I'll be like, all right, this is going nowhere. So if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's a very, I think, like, specific situation where there's no real like care for what the other person thinks. Then I would also, I think, like, stop just communicating, I guess.
Yeah, like even like within the type community at times, I can get very passionate about my opinions. And so
Yeah, me too.
that's an example of like if I disagree with someone, like I find it interesting and I'm curious whenever there's a disagreement. And I often will want to figure out like what the root of that is. And I enjoy disagreements if I think that the person also is curious and like finding the truth and is not just trying to convince me of what they think. Because ideally, I think that it would be like taking the best of both sort of thoughts together to find like a new truth, if that makes sense. So it's not like I shy away from disagreements at all, but I will like, it's almost like I think my masculine FE can sort of test if it's even worth arguing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you identify with that, Roos? Like, are you trying to convince other people of an opinion? Are you trying to understand their opinion? Are you trying to push your like?
I was starting laughing when you mentioned the type community because I definitely see that when someone thinks they're a certain type, they're not, or I think they're not. I feel like an aggressive need to tell them that they're wrong. And I was also thinking about a situation that I had with my coach, my volleyball coach, like earlier today. I was telling him that I thought he was making had made some bad decisions in our match on Friday. And actually, I just realized this now. I was trying to tell him like, hey, I think this and this and this. Like, I don't understand what you did with this and this and this. And I was like, can you like communicate your reasons? And he communicated them beautifully. And I said like, thanks. It's very clear. But I disagree because of blah, 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 blah. And then he said, yeah, I disagree with blah, blah, blah. And then like we agreed to like say, okay, like we agree on all the reasons. We just prefer a different thing. We just prefer, he prefers more like security in like the base team. And I prefer more like trying stuff out or something, like for example. So when we came to what you actually prefer yourself, we were fine with, yeah, okay, we prefer different things. Like we have different preferences. Like you value security and I value trying stuff out. That's okay. Yeah.
So there's a different solution that works based on what your preference is. And then, so it's almost like you guys dialed down to like the FI reason.
Exactly. That's what
Yeah.
That's what I figured.
Like you can respect each other's FI and see where the TE is coming from.
Yeah. We both like we agreed on like the facts and the logic and how things work. And then we said, yeah, okay, I respect your decision because it's based in your value. Yeah,
that's interesting because I feel like I don't feel the aggressive need to let people know if I think that they're wrong. In fact, I get very stressed out in those sort of situations because I like will just know that in my mind I'm like they're wrong, but I'm not even thinking about the rules. I mean, like I'm not like thinking of like, oh, A then B then C. Like I know too that like it's based on my own understanding. It's like based on what I think. And so why would I tell them? So, I mean, like, for example, there are certain like celebrities that become debated in the type community a lot of like what type they are. And like, that's like kind of my worst nightmare is like, I'll like tell like individual friends, like, it's like, if you really want to know what I think, I'll let you know. But I'm not getting into that mess right there because I guess what I would say is like, clearly the divide is that these people are seeing these traits in this person and these people are seeing these traits in this person based on who they are and what they value and what sticks out to them. And so there's no way to even change anyone's mind because they're seeing a different picture of the person. So I'll like think things like that, and then I'll think, oh, I'm not even going to try and argue. But
because you think that the other person will never have just the same, I don't know,
I can come up with
the same picture.
helps.
If you have one.
Like, okay, so I don't want to go into this too much because it is kind of controversial, I guess, but like Trump, for example, people will say he's a good businessman. Oh, and then some people say he's not a good businessman. And so it's like you aren't even arguing on the same picture. And so how do you even I think like for my FE, it's interesting what you talked about with your volleyball coach, because I would have decided if you had the same value and goal before I even had the solution, to where I would make sure we're on the same page and that we want the same things, and then I would decide how to do it.
Right. Okay. So would you then, so taking the example of my volleyball coach, would you want to agree on like stuff like everybody gets an even amount of time, like in the field, like as, I don't know if that's
I would say,
a good
how do you want the system? Like, are you wanting more security? Are you wanting just to feel safer? Are you wanting, like, I would ask everyone what they want out of it, if that makes sense.
And would you want to come to an agreement?
Yeah, I would want to come to an agreement and say, like, okay, like, it seems like we need the system because people are confused or people are feeling unsafe or insecure, whatever way. Okay, so that means that we need to create a system that's going to fix their problem, if that makes sense. But okay. I don't know how different that is from you. So sometimes it's hard to say, like, are we doing the same thing, but we're just describing it differently, or, you know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, going about it in a different way, I guess. Like,
yeah, it's
in the end, we both want to win the game, right?
Yeah,
like, probably. So yeah.
How would you go about pushing on a difference of opinion, Meghan, with a volleyball coach?
So just so I can better understand this example, like, what was the problem that you guys were having, if you don't mind sharing?
I hope he's not watching. No, we were, I was discussing, I don't want to get too personal.
Oh, no, I'm trying to think of an example then.
Yeah.
It's funny that masculine FI, you don't want to get personal. Feelings are private. And
it's just that it's like a personal thing about some people in my team, and like I don't think they're in the type community, but I don't want them like watching, and I don't want my like negative opinions about them be out there. So maybe I could think of something else. No, go ahead.
Oh, I just didn't say, let's just pretend like you're at work or something, and you that the system is disorganized, and you have like a better way, or I don't know. That's not a good example. What are you trying to get at?
Yeah. So this was so that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Maybe you can talk about like so it was just a general conflict that you of a opinion on how to progress in the game, on how to actually get what you want out of the game.
It was about a certain person that I thought was like underperforming. Yeah.
So I was just wondering how Meghan would approach that situation.
I guess it's a very ENTJ thing to get worried about, like
performance.
I thought we were not like performing to our like best, or like working most, I don't know, efficiently, like best. I don't know.
So if I'm ever in a group and I feel like one person in particular is like underperforming in a certain way, I would try and find like the root cause for that, and I would wonder, like, have I communicated the standards enough? Like, is the system working well for them? So like let's say, because I work in marketing, so like let's say I'm in like a team, and then there's like a graphic design person, and they aren't giving me the thing in time. The first thing I would think if they were underperforming is, are they overworked? What are the boundaries? Like, I would like want to talk to the person and say, like, are you struggling with something? Like, is there a reason why you like, and I would like reiterate like, hey, I really think that you have potential to meet this, but also like, let's say if I was the marketing person, I'd be like, I'm not a graphic designer, so I don't understand how hard it is. Do we need to change the system so that there's enough time for you to get this? Or do I need to change my expectations? So like, I wouldn't, I guess like I'm very slow to thinking that an individual is the problem. And I always think it's the system at large. If that makes sense.
Right. Okay.
But,
So, but what if they were like, what if they had a very, I don't know nothing about marketing, but what if they had, I don't know, a very unique or like specific, I don't know, style maybe, or like way of working that's okay for them, but that's just not working for the team.
yeah, that makes sense. So actually, I can kind of even have an example of that, is that whenever I used to be a journalist, what they were looking for from me is someone that like is heads down and just writes all day. And I was more skilled at like networking a little bit, wanting to do some podcast stuff. I wanted to like do lots of stuff. And like, for example, like I wasn't a good fit pretty much, like based on what I wanted, it just wasn't a good fit. And like, I think in situations where someone is not a good fit, then you have to like get really clear about like what they need and like the value of that, I guess, and like communicate it to the person and like be like, this is what we're looking for. This is what the group needs. And is that you? Like, how do you feel about reaching that goal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were they? Sorry, go ahead. This is like going way.
No, I was just wondering because like Roos clearly sees the leadership with the coach, right? Like the coach is so you wanted to come to him, give him the authority to make the change. But how would you make a change in that situation, Roos?
Me or Meghan?
You, Roos. How would you make a change in a situation? Because like you were talking about approaching the coach, but like, and Meghan was talking about her making a change as a authority. So how would you do that?
If I were the coach?
Yeah, if you were the coach.
I have different FI values, so I would have made a different decision. And I guess it's a bad example because it's like sports, so it goes like really, it's like a very ST environment or something. It's just about like what's going on right now, and we can't spend any time, like we just have to do what works right now or something. I don't know. Maybe like that's how I look at it. So I would just have sub the person out for someone else. And there's no time to tell them like your reasons or your values, like like any of them. It's just going to be like,
and if there was time, how would you do it?
So in a work situation, that would be really hard for me. But I would try. I do think because that's an FE thing that you kind of have to do, where you have to talk to a person about like what they want, like what you want from them. Like I don't know. That's tricky for me, definitely. But I do feel that when I am in that situation, I can kind of simulate the FE pretty okay. Like I take the time to like very consciously to take into account like feelings and like values and blah blah.
It's so funny, like I try and simulate TE also.
Is it hard?
Yeah, kind of. Like for example, like with marketing stuff, the most important part of my job is storytelling, making people care, communicating to the audience. But then I often have to work with thinkers where I have to explain like why I'm wanting a certain strategy, and like why, like I always have to explain things of like, oh, like the ROI or like the result is not going to be instant with this sort of thing. We have to look for months, or like, oh, I'll have to say like, this is the most important metric that we need to look at. Like I have to like say things like that, where like, it's frustrating for me because sometimes I want to throw up my hands and be like, storytelling doesn't work that way. You can't just always look like I've had like TE bosses where it's like, well, why don't you try posting a short message and a long message and see which one works, and then let's just go with that. And I like get frustrated because I'm like, there's so many different factors to like what would make a person care, and you can't just like do an experiment like that. And so like I have to like learn the sort of TE of like, oh, these are the metrics that we look at, like things like that, to communicate why I do what I do. But it's really hard for me, and it's like draining.
Would you approach it in the same way, Roos, where like you have to try to get someone to care about something in order to get them on board?
Yeah. I think I have limited myself to very TE environments. Like I work in law. I have a legal job in like a legal field, and like I said, like sports. It's all, I think it's very, very thinking, right? I have had situations where I have had to, where I feel like I have had to like do like the NIFE thing, like influence the like atmosphere of the group. Like it's very ungraspable thing for me. And the way like with like getting people on board for like activities, you can't just say, hi, there and there, then and then, we're gonna do this, see ya. Like you have to get people like excited and everything. So I have tried to how do I do that? I don't know. I try to like give them all like individual like time and attention, and then like get them hyped up individually, because like as a group I can't really like do it, I guess. I don't know. I'm just trying to like see it from everybody's individual perspective. So maybe like they're all individual FIs, and then try to get people excited for the thing I'm trying to get them excited for.
Both of us have kind of gravitated toward, I guess, either careers or places where our strengths are like valued, to where like for me to try and use thinking for something I'm an expert in, it's a lot easier than like to go somewhere else. And like if your FI actually is excited, then it probably isn't as hard as
I was picking up, maybe Roos, tell me if I'm wrong, that maybe you're still trying to push from your feelings because that's your masculine side in that group. You would push more from that side rather than your TE. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. I'm now thinking just of an example where it's very much about whether someone cares to go somewhere or not. But I guess you could give them a lot of great reasons also, so you could push in that way. But I guess what you're saying is right. Maybe.
And kind of something I was going to say based on what you said earlier is that I find that I kind of naturally find myself in this sort of mentorship role of wanting to encourage people to rise up and be better than what they're doing, as opposed to just looking at their emotion as kind of static of like, oh, they aren't ready for this opportunity, I'm going to just move these things around. Like, because I feel for whatever reason responsible for, encouraging someone to be better and let them know this is the standard. And it feels almost like I'm giving them a chance to meet it. And then if they don't meet it, then I feel less guilty about just saying, sorry, like the values aren't aligned here. If that makes sense. I know that's not a great example maybe, but.
So
I was also a little distracted by the
Sorry, that's my bad. So Asura was saying that he's seen TE users motivate people through saying how good the store was doing rather than how good they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's one of the. I disagree. Like it's one of like the stereotypes about ENTJs. Like they're like cold and I don't know. I don't know, they're not caring about like the individual or something, but like I feel I'm really like different, but maybe not. I don't know.
I can see how some TE users would do that though, if they think that is talking about the people, because maybe they would just, oh well, we all make up the store, But
Like, yeah, good
Yeah.
job, team, for getting the store to do so well.
yeah.
Yeah. I do have a very hard time. Maybe you relate, Megan. Whenever a team accomplished something, but someone, like one person, didn't really contribute, I have a hard time addressing that. I would just say like, well done, team, like great work, like very well done. And then it has actually caused like negative, I don't know, opinions of me by people. I did this too, when some people did actually work very hard and they saw the one person not caring or not doing anything, and me not addressing that because I want to like keep the illusion of everyone being the same.
That's so interesting because, or sorry, were you going?
No, go ahead. No.
This is maybe unpopular opinion, but I don't believe that laziness exists. I don't like really judge people for being lazy. I assume that they're confused, they're burnout, they don't understand the expectations, or maybe they're in the wrong fit for them. So
that's interesting because I assume they don't care.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I assume that they do care, or else why would they be there? But like for example, like when I'm thinking of like group projects like in school or something, I've found that more often than not, the person that's quiet doesn't understand the expectations and they're afraid to ask a question. And so I would then notice that and be like, does anyone have any questions? Like, or I might like take the initiative to be like, if anyone has any questions, I don't mind asking the professor or the teacher so that we all know. But
that's really interesting. Like, okay, correct me if I'm getting this wrong, but it seems like Megan's trying to approach the group by explaining the logic so that everybody understands things on a logical level, so that they can get their TI on board and then join. And then Roos is trying to explain the logic is just, this is the logic, we're done, but let's get you motivated, you get your FI on board.
And I feel like if someone doesn't understand, like that's not personal to me. Like if you don't understand, you just like tell it, it's fine, like no big deal. I don't understand things like all day. There's always things that you don't understand. Just say it, then we can address it and then we can move on.
I think people can be just afraid of looking stupid and stuff like that. And I know this is kind of tangential, but I've been in group projects with like ESTJs or ENTJs where like they just did all of the work before I even got a chance to. I looked like the lazy one and they were judging me as lazy. And it was like, I literally would have done something if you would have given me the chance to. But like, for example, like in college, I worked while also in college. And so I didn't do a great job of explaining my schedule, which maybe I should have done, because I didn't explain like the logistics of it. Like I'm only free this time. So I think like because there were times I wasn't free and wasn't responsive, they just assumed that I was like lazy or something. And so they just did it without telling me like, hey, when are you free? Which I would have, if someone was unresponsive, I would have been like, hey, what's your schedule like or something. But
okay.
Yeah.
Not sure I see where I would fall in that situation. I've definitely done like much more work than anyone on group projects. But yeah.
Maybe it's more of a masculine TV thing to just sort of jump in and do it. I don't know. Or do you relate to that?
Just like getting ahead and like doing it without anyone like asking anyone.
Yeah.
No, I would really This is I think it's maybe due to masculine versus feminine CE, because I don't like, I wait for people to tell me that it's okay to like start doing stuff. Yeah. Like I kind of want them to push on me for that, I guess.
Yeah, I'm that way too, but also I think my masculine FE will sort of be like, okay, what part of the project do you guys feel the most passionate about doing? Like, let's decide like who's doing what. Like,
yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Me? No,
it sounds like Roos is wants people's permission for her to do things before she's able to do it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so interesting. Yeah, because I feel like I observe that a lot of people are constantly waiting for permission. And so my thinking is, oh, there's never a right time. And people tend to be thankful whenever I'm the first to start. So I don't mind it.
Yeah, actually, the situation with my coach was actually exactly like this, because I think he is savior feminine TE as well somewhere. And for a long time, like he never explains what he's doing, like his reasons, because he wants people to ask them, but I wait for him to give me permission to like challenge him on his TE. So it took me like a year or something to actually message him like, hey, like maybe this decision could have done differently. And then we had this like beautiful TE conversation where we're just exchanging logic. But it took so long because he doesn't push with his reasons, neither do I. So we just say like, we say here, where are you here? And we never go here. I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed your point maybe.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was leaving. My FE was leaving space for Benjamin to talk.
Oh. So, okay, we had a question from Sarah. I'm not going to scroll up and find it, but she was wondering how maybe you view FE, Roos, and then how Meghan views TE. And maybe you guys can see if you have a misconception or something.
So how we define it, or how we tend to get along with it, or both?
Yeah, I think that was more the thing, how you tend to get along with it, how you tend to view it.
Do you want to go first? Or
No, go ahead.
Okay. I really, okay. So I've realized, so like when I first kind of got into type, I definitely have noticed that I can struggle to get along with TJs. I've realized that it's actually unhealthy FI that I don't like. I really don't have a problem with TE, really. Like the more I think about it, or like, especially since I know what you guys are doing, especially with like ETJs, I have learned to sort of parallel like, oh, okay, they're just trying to do this, which is so similar to what I'm trying to do. And so I like have a lot of empathy for that. I really just, the only thing the thing that could bother me about TE is when it seems like there's some sort of FI reason for what the logic is that they might not be aware of, or they're acting like it's super logical without realizing the emotions. Because for me, like I immediately pick up the emotional part. So, but I don't know. And so like, I really enjoy collaborating with like, especially ENTJs, honestly, if we can get on the same page, because I'm just like thankful that you guys want to do things I don't want to do. So that's kind of the gist of it.
It's a good answer. Yeah. So do you see that, Roos, that sometimes you're arguing about something for an FI motivation rather than just because it's logically sound?
Yeah.
Or do you automatically look for the FI motivation behind an argument?
Yeah, I've never thought of this. I definitely sometimes do feel like when I get maybe angry or sad or like whatever, like in my FI, from my FI, I do try to express it through logic to other people. Whereas it might be better to just say, listen, I'm angry about this. Like I feel sad right now. But yeah, because it's not something like I do very consciously. I'm just trying to, I'm thinking I'm sad, so there must be a reason. Like, let's find the reason why. But I'm just now learning to kind of say like, I'm sad, no reason for it, I'm just sad. But I relate to this dynamic the same way with FE. Like healthy, like savior FE, like nothing wrong with it. But especially I think like sometimes to me it can seem like lying. When people don't, like, for example, I have a friend, and whenever we agree to meet somewhere, sometimes he's like, because he's always late, he's like FENE or something, and he will say like, hey, I'll be there in 5 minutes, and I'm kind of like, I know where you are. You're not going to be there in 5 minutes. Like, just tell me. But he doesn't want to disappoint me or something. I don't know. But in the end, he's going to anyway because he's not more than 5 minutes away. Stuff like that. Like, just say what you mean, right? Like, don't.
Well, that's the thing. So I'm that person all the time, actually. And it's not because I'm lying. It's because I literally think that it's going to be 5 minutes because my thinking isn't good enough.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just am so stupid when it comes to that stuff. Like, I don't know how to I'm really learning how to organize my time.
Yeah, we were talking about this, right? Weren't we on Facebook? Like, where you said, like, I doubt whether I actually think this is going to be 5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so actually, like, my partner got mad at me recently because I was with my friend and I texted them and said, hey, I'll be there in 5 minutes. But then I got into a conversation with my friend that seemed really, really important. And I didn't check my phone and it was like 30 minutes. And so that was like a perfect example of the FE of this person like seemed more important at the time. And I got swept up in it and I like lost track of time. So I mean, I did think it was going to be 5 minutes like at that time. But,
okay. Yeah.
So I'm thinking though that like Megan, if you knew you were going to be late, you wouldn't try to lie about it. Like you would just be straight up. And I'm thinking maybe a feminine FE would maybe more lie about it than a masculine.
I know a couple ENFPs that, well, like an ENFP roommate of mine in college used to text people I'm outside or something when she wasn't.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I was annoyed with that because I would never do that. But I don't know what that could be related to though. Maybe feminine FE would. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Would you lie not to conflict with people, Roos?
I mean, only if I wasn't gonna get caught. Like, right? I don't know.
But like, is that a consideration you make? Like, because you don't want to have the conflict?
Yeah. Or I'll say something. I'll not outright lie, but like say something very general to not like have to disagree with someone on, like to a more specific level.
Yeah, see, I think saying the general fact does seem kind of TE too, because I don't think I like lie to avoid conflict, but I do withhold my opinion a lot. But I don't think I would be able to do like a sort of professional lawyer-esque sounding thing of like, sure, like I don't know how to do like a sort of like half-truth thing. I don't know. Is that the TE that you mean? Like
yeah. I'm just thinking of situations where someone is like complaining about someone else and I kind of disagree about them. I don't know about what they're saying about the person. So I'll say something like, oh yeah, it can be very annoying when someone does this. And it sounds like I'm agreeing with them because I'm saying that it's annoying when someone does that. But I'm just saying that it's annoying in general when people do that.
Oh, interesting. Because if someone's complaining about a person and I think that they're being unfair, then I would say like, hey, like I actually think that this person is blah blah blah. Like I would just like tell them that, unless I really thought that I couldn't, which I know that's kind of confusing, but I wouldn't be able to do what you're doing. I would either say nothing or I would tell them how I feel about it. But there are certain times when like my feminine TI gets triggered and to where I know there's nothing I could say that would come across right. So it kind of is like I throw my phone and I get angry that people don't see things the way they clearly are right now. Like, because like I think sometimes my inferior TI, it's hard to really grasp what the logic is, and sometimes the experience is I'm surrounded by idiots, which it's like I need to dig and like what is that really? And so like I like won't say anything until I know what that is, because sometimes I don't know. Yeah.
Roos, can you tell me situations where you feel like your FI is getting attacked?
Not like this. I don't know. Not just now. I would have to think about it.
Yeah. What about Meghan? Do you know situations where you feel like maybe your TI is getting attacked?
Well, I feel personally attacked whenever people swoop in and kind of lazily discredit something I said when they clearly haven't thought it through. Like, if someone has thought it through and they're kind about it, or even if they thought it through and they're not kind about it, then I find it just interesting information. But it's interesting. I don't know how this would change for like feminine or masculine FE ENFJs, but I know that there's kind of a tendency in ENFJs that I hear people talk about how like we might be bad at accepting like constructive criticism. And I think that like for me, there's a huge difference between constructive criticism and criticism. And a lot of people I don't think like I like react to the type of criticism where it feels disconnected from me, like as though they don't even understand my real problem and that they're just sort of saying what my problem sounds like or seems like. Because then the TI reaction is like, well, you don't even know me and you don't even know what I think. But it's sort of like, yeah, they don't because I haven't said it. Like, of course they don't.
So it's like someone's trying to give you a solution without even considering the problem properly?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard to really explain how I do know that. But I do think that I do at least think that I know when someone has thought it through or when they haven't. Which, I don't know. I might be wrong. But to me,
so like you feel unseen, you feel like, or like your TI is not valued.
Yeah, like because
right. Yeah.
I guess I think I want people to be curious about how I came to my conclusion, and I want them to trust that it was a long process and I thought really hard about it, and that I don't just say it lightly.
Yeah. So that when they place your TI, when they place your TI like somewhere else than it is. It kind of sounds like like they're addressing your TI in a way that you don't think it is. I was just thinking about the question, Benjamin. I would feel like my FI was getting attacked when someone was doubting whether I was genuine, like whether my intentions in something, whether I was like whether I don't know. Yeah, maybe when someone was saying I was fake in a way, I think.
Yeah, because would you feel sort of like, well, you don't know me and my integrity.
Yeah. Integrity is super important to me. Like when someone doubts that, that's a super big deal. Like how could you? How dare you?
Yeah, like for example, like a comment that I get that is annoying to me, like on my YouTube channel, like might be like, how do you know so many INFJs? Because how do you know anything about INFJs? Because they're so rare. And so I bet you don't even know any. Like things like that, where I'm like, well, I'm literally an ENFJ. I literally go to philosophical discussions. I hang out in like artsy networking of like, it mind boggles me at times where I'm like, and I know that's like a little like silly thing to get mad at, but then I'm thinking of like, do you even know how groups of people work? Do you realize that NFs, we all hang out? You know, like I'm mad about that.
Whereas I would think, well, there's only this many INFJs, like the probability of you knowing so many is like super small. Like, how does that work?
Oh, okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe it was even like a TE person that was like just thinking of the probability. Because like my FE is like, well, don't you realize that like people flock together?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
well, ENFJs are rare too, so I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, Roos, do you tend to see groups and see how people flock and group together?
Yeah, I really
Yeah?
do. Yeah, this is something that I've also thought about a lot. So I'm savior NT, feminine NT, feminine TE, feminine and I, as a girl, and I feel like in just in high school, like being an EJ comes with so many insecurities. So in high school, like I had to like see the people game. I don't know, I like see how people work, like groups of people, like just like you're describing. Why does that person want to hang out with that person? Like, why are these people cool? Why are they not? I also I call it like NT the SF. Like I found myself in high school like trying to figure out like, okay, so now this like these kinds of, I guess, like pants are super cool. So I have to go out and like find them and buy them, and then I have to match them with like this kind of shirt, like because that's what people do, and they are like the cool people do that. So if I want to be cool, I have to do it, but like not in such an obvious way. So they see that I'm copying them, like really like thinking about those kinds of things. Yeah. So
That's crazy. Well, no, I wanted to say earlier that I think really the key of when I feel triggered with the TI is that it seems like someone's insulting my intelligence. Like that's what I think hurts. But yeah, to respond to what you just said, I think that a lot of times people think that FE does that, and maybe feminine FE does that. What you just described seems so TE to me. It's like, oh, okay. Like you're like logicking it, right?
Yeah.
I really cared about clothes. I still kind of do, but especially in high school. But it was like, I really want to reflect who I am. I want to express who I am. And I want it to look good. I don't know. I never like thought about it like that.
Yeah, that's so crazy to me. Like I would just think it's so crazy that some people could just like come up with something new. Like everybody was wearing like straight jeans, right? And then someone broke the rules by like wearing like bootcut jeans, and I was like, how is it that they can pull that off and I can't? But then okay, I guess we have changed. I guess I now have to buy bootcut pants, and it just never occurred
to you. Like seriously, the same thing. I had to get all new pants. I'm like, well, apparently skinny jeans are out. Like,
yeah.
But I was thinking like, oh, okay, so skinny jeans are on their way out and bootcut jeans are more in. And so now I need shoes that fit my vibe and pants that fit my vibe that continue the same vibe that I had before, but like a new iteration of it was like what I was thinking.
Oh my God. Yeah. I never thought of it that way.
In high school though, when I would worry about like clothes or something, it would be like, so I did like theater and choir and improv stuff. And so I was very artsy, and I would like want to find things that fit who I was. Like sometimes I would like walk into stores and I thought everything either seemed like too preppy or too whatever. And I would just feel like, oh my gosh, like I hate all of these. Like, how come I can't find something I like? I don't know. Like, I feel that sort of dissonance of like this overall feel doesn't fit with me, and I would wonder like, is there something wrong with me that I don't like any of these or something? I don't know.
I would feel like, is there something wrong with me that it looks good on everyone except me?
I'm going to bring in a couple ISFP opinions. They say, I just wear what I like, period.
Right.
And,
yeah.
Yeah. But I relate to you. I still am thinking about how it comes off, but I don't like overanalyze like I guess the elements of the outfit.
But you know what I would wear when I would wear what I like? like cargo pants or something, and like, yeah, I don't know. It just looks weird, right? Like I can't wear them to the law office, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to change things up a bit. I'm wondering if you both have a vision of what success looks like in the SE, and how would you go about it, achieving it, or how do you plan on achieving it? Maybe start with Meghan, because I think.
Sure. I feel like I know who I am and where I want to go, but I don't necessarily know the steps along the way. Like, I like to leave room for that. But I've realized kind of through trial and error, but that success for me is being able to support myself financially, like with my own ventures, because I've tried to fit in working for other people and I really just don't like it. And I actually, this is kind of a side note, but I experienced a lot of shame about that. Like, I mean, it makes sense for like a masculine, extroverted, judging EJ person to like want to be entrepreneurial, but I felt like bad about that. Like, I felt like, why do I want that? Like, I questioned like why I wanted that. So it took me a while to even be okay with that as the goal. But so success for me is having freedom to be able to create content in various ways. I was a journalism major, so I pretty much want to have my own like media company, like videos, podcasts, write some ebooks. But I want to be able to follow my heart. Oh, that sounds so cheeky. But I want to be able to like follow my inspiration, but have like a sort of stability to where like maybe 1 year I want to focus on a book, and the year after that I want to focus on a podcast or something. And I also want to have these sort of systems set up where for various types of consulting to where I can do, like I'm learning, I'm getting a master's in psychology now because I do want to continue doing typology stuff. So like I want to have time to learn. So I honestly like success is like having time in a way to be free to do the things I want to do. Sorry, I'm being really rambly right now, but it's like,
it's really great. Go ahead.
Oh, thanks. So it's like, there's the learning piece. Like I want to have time to like philosophize about things, and then the time to share content about those things and collaborate with people about those things. And I want to have more time for other systems too. But like, as far as like consulting or coaching or mentoring goes, I don't know exactly how that'll look, but like something in regards to type, but also with my digital marketing and branding stuff, I want to help other people who have a passion or a vision, help them get that. So it's like my own thing. I want to walk the walk. And then I want to also like help people do that with their own lives. So yeah.
Do you feel it's necessary to do that first, Meghan, to succeed first before you can help? Yeah.
Yes. And actually, like with my ENFJ business partner, we did start our digital marketing company, and we do have some clients and stuff, but we've realized that we have a hard time pitching ourselves until we feel really good with where we're at, like with her business and with mine. And like, for example, like I don't really have a website right now. Not that big of a deal. But like she's feminine FE, but she was thinking like, I don't feel like I'd feel comfortable telling people that we've walked the walk and that we know what we're talking about until I make you this website. Because then it's like we have that integrity of like, see like what I'm doing for my personal brand, well, we can do that for you. So it's like I want to like enable people to do what they do best, help them start businesses, help them communicate, but also do that myself. So yeah, if that makes sense.
Oh.
When I try to explain that to people, they
Your turn,
get really scattered, but my NI really does know what I mean.
I know, it's okay.
Yeah.
Damn. I don't have such an extensive answer. Actually, so in high school, I started off with the idea of success, like very stereotypical, I guess, ENTJ. Mm-hmm. Like I wanted to get like a well-paying job. I wanted to get to the highest, I don't know, like level, I don't know, manager, director, whatever company or organization I was going to be part of. And that was, to me, success. And I chose my major accordingly, like chose law. But actually came, like, I'm saying this, I think, like, so stereotypical, but came to realize that I didn't like it. And
Wait, so how you picked a job and then you realized once you did it that you didn't like it?
No, I was doing the bachelor, like the law bachelor, the study, yeah. And I was realizing I wasn't really liking it. So I started studying linguistics as well. So language is like a very big passion of mine. Like I realized I would just want to study languages all day and not study law. So I did that. And then I found a niche in law that I also liked very well. So I could kind of make it my thing, you know, without having to totally quit it. And I still have that idea, kind of, like in my job, like I want to be the best. And then when I'm the best, I want to become the manager. And then when I'm the manager, I want to become, you know, I want to like climb up. But I've also, so that's still what I would want to do, because that would feel like success to me. But I've also come to realize that yeah, that is not everything, you know, like, and there I really agree to what you were saying. It's just yeah, like freedom is, the idea of freedom is having time to do what you like best, having a stable income. Actually, I would never want to be an entrepreneur, like for myself. I would always want to work for a boss, because like I know how to see what other people want from me and like then do that. I feel like
so I was going to ask, like, is it fun for you to climb that like sort of ladder of like being the best and then being promoted and then being the manager? Because the reason why I want to be
it's okay, yeah, bye. Yeah.
I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur is because I hate that game. I refuse to play it. I'm not good at it. So, and like I've tried. I mean, it's not like I refuse. Like I feel like such an entitled millennial when I say that, but like I feel like what is stressful for me, and because I'm trying to find like the TI system that works for me, is like when it comes to journalism, media storytelling, my skills lie in strategy more than actual like focus and cranking out content. But like in order to get to that, you have to prove that you're good at being detail oriented and good at grammar and cranking it out. And I don't have a lot of stamina for doing things that I don't want to do. Like I get distracted.
Yeah.
And I feel like this isn't the right fit for me. And like, so it seemed, at least for me, like what I saw is that doing what I'm good at on my own for my own thing is what can prove to people that is what I'm good at, as opposed to having to do what I'm not good at in order to do what I'm good at. Which I'd imagine you probably would want to be like a manager and like would be skilled at things at that. But like you also seem to like be able to focus on the things that you don't really want to do in order to get there. Or
I feel like I get enough like positive feedback for myself, like just like positive energy from getting good feedback and getting it promoted, maybe in order to do what's necessary, even if I don't like it. But I gotta say, like I try to like find the thing that I like most. But still, the end goal would be try it. Yeah, I feel so. I don't know. This feels so stupid. Like, why would I want to get promoted? But like that would just really feel very, very good. Like people are like liking what, like I'm making it work for them, I guess is what that would mean. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think like I've heard about how people like want to gamify or make competitive like the work environment in order to motivate people to like win?
I don't like that at all.
Okay.
No.
Interesting. Because I don't like
no. No, like you mean like sales teams, like having like the best salesperson and they like get a bonus. No. That's too like pushy for me. I wanna yeah.
So what motivates you then to like get to the next level?
My own feeling that I'm better than them.
It's almost like your masculine FI is what motivates the whole thing.
So you are
I guess-
competitive, Rouse. You just don't want the reward for winning. You just enjoy the competition.
I don't know. I have felt very very awkward before when I actually got rewarded. Like are you sure? Like, you sure you want this? Like me, really? Yeah. Yeah.
It was sounding, Meghan, to me like you were less looking for what you want and more looking for where you fit in, like where,
Mhm.
And it sounded more like Rouse was looking for what she likes, what fulfills her, and I can see that, like, I can see that it's fulfilling in the same way, but it's a little nuance that I noticed.
Yeah, like
true.
For example, there was a while where I worked at a coffee shop and I worked for a magazine, and then I worked at a coffee shop and took some time to figure out what I wanted to create for myself. And that was because I realized that I wasn't going to have the time to even think about my personal projects if I was like putting somebody else's passion above my own, which is what I saw, like the boss, whoever I was working for. It felt like putting it above my time, because I have a tendency to, when I work for someone, I want to be like an overachiever and I want to prove that I care and go above and beyond. So I could do that and then like not make time for me. So yeah, that answers your.
So you're like kind of protecting your feminine TI.
Yeah.
Whereas I would think like, it's not a problem. I'm never gonna cross my own boundaries. I would, but I don't think about it before. Yeah.
If I needed time to rest, I needed time to figure out what I wanted so that I can kind of develop a more long-term strategy of where I wanted to go. And I realized too that with like the state of media and like online media these days, that especially because I live like in the Midwest in the US, where there's not that many great media jobs, and I couldn't really afford to move because like all my family's here too. But like I realized that it made like more sense to just do it myself, because then I become the expert in, like, I become a big fish in a small pond by doing it myself. Where like, because I kept having like bosses that didn't know as much as I knew, because a lot of this stuff is new. It's like I literally went to school for like how media is changing, and then I had bosses that were like, "What's social media?" And so it's like I'm more of an expert than them, and so I didn't know how to like work my way up in that sort of. Because I think if I respected the person who was above me, that they like knew more than I knew, then it would be so much easier to do. But
what are you laughing at, Benjamin?
No, I'm just wondering. I'm looking at you, Rouse, thinking if you identify with that. Like, if you had a boss that knew less than you, that was less capable than you, what would that be like?
Yeah, that would be frustrating. But I would try to explain things to them.
Yeah, that's what takes so much energy for me.
Yeah.
Teach them.
So we're running a bit out of time. I know, Meghan, you have to go, right? So I was wondering if you could just let me ask one last question about the SE a little bit. Do you guys struggle a little bit with the SE? Do you see some failures there? Is it something that's a bit of a challenge for you in your lives? Whoever has an answer.
What do you think?
Yeah, me too. Just thinking.
I don't know. I'm dating an ENFJ, so my SE seems really great in comparison. I don't know. So as the SE savior, what would you say, Benjamin, would be an example of?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm what I wouldn't even know what failure in the SE looks like.
Well, for me, failure is or failure in the SE is whenever I don't realize
giving
that
up.
I'm
I think
it's
that's
like
it.
I'm running on empty, and then so I burn out, and I didn't listen to my body, and so I kept pushing when I shouldn't have.
Giving up? What do you mean by that, Benjamin?
Yeah.
No, I think that's what failure in the SE is giving up.
Giving up? In what sense?
Like sometimes I'll stick to something way too long, and I should have given up like long ago, but just because SE is high for me, I feel like the responsibility not to give up, especially when things have gone past their due, sort of thing.
But what kinds of things? Like what kinds of?
I don't know, anything like a craft, learning something, a relationship, things like that.
Like persisting is.
Well, in the summer I wasn't taking any classes, and I'm like slowly taking online classes for my master's. So in the summer I wasn't taking any class, and I was like, I'm gonna learn to sew. I'm gonna teach myself how to sew. And I bought myself a sewing machine, and I bought it thinking that this was trapping me in the reality of having to learn. And it's sitting right there looking at me, haunting me. Then class started and I didn't have time. So like that, I like don't really know like my energy levels of like I'll do things like that where I want to like motivate myself to do something in the SE, and then like something will change that I didn't anticipate, and then like I'll realize that I don't know. Does that fit as a failure? I guess.
I guess it's a good example of not persisting. That's me with all my books, by the way.
Yeah,
like all the books I buy. We talked about this, yeah.
Both consume last, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, don't stop. Yeah.
You guys both have like a higher education too, and you consume last. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So okay, I have a question about that too, which I do need to wrap up soon. But when you were in college, was the hardest part like reading the material before class?
Yeah. I never do it.
Yeah, I don't. I always tell myself each semester that I'm going to, though.
I stopped telling myself that because I was not going to do it. Yeah, that's definitely the hardest part. So when I was writing a paper, the biggest thing to overcome was like reading the articles, and then like I don't know, I would like sneeze over my paper, and I would have an essay written. Like that's no big deal, but like actually taking stuff in, oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like because in high school I was just like a good student, like a straight A student, and I don't think I learned how to study. And when I got to college, it was like I should have learned like better study habits to begin with, because I think I just grasped concepts easily, and so I just like if I am in class and I'm paying attention, then it's like fine. But then like the actual research part, like I don't know, like I was bad at being prepared for class, I guess.
Yeah.
I actually thought about going to law school, but decided to not. My ENTJ uncle actually is a lawyer, and he told me, I was like worried that I wouldn't be good at it, and he was like, law is easy for smart people like you, because most people, they just make things up. But for law school, you have to know the law. You can't not know the law. You have to know it, and if you don't know it, you're wrong. And so I thought it would be really hard for me to read and to do it. And maybe I realized I didn't care enough. It was the thing. But I wondered though if NI would be good at it though, of like really grasping the concept.
Yeah, but I also think it's a very SI profession. Like you have to be super detailed, like have to get the facts straight. Maybe that's my failure in the SE, because I'm not very that good at it.
Well, it's both masculine, so I was just wondering. Yeah, it should still be strong, right?
And he said that kind of forcefully. He might be masculine TE. I'm not sure, but like he was just trying to encourage me, probably. But
yeah, maybe.
Cool. Awesome. We're going to wrap this up. I was just wondering if you guys maybe saw each other's types, if you saw any kind of similarities with each other's differences.
I got a better understanding of FE even more, and my own FI. Yeah, it's cool. It's like, it's just so easy to assume that FEs are just like the same as me, but they don't like, but they're like better at feelings or something, you know, stuff like that. But it's good to actually see what it actually does. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say from after this conversation, I'm curious. I want to keep chatting with you guys too about it, because I'm curious, why do people think that feminine TE looks like FE? Because I mean, I don't see it. Also, I would say that we are probably more similar than we seem. I think we come different. But then when we talk, we can see it's similar. But like, I mean, I think that the functions come off really different as like a first impression.
The reason people think that, I think, is because, like I explained a few times, I'm trying, like when I think something, I don't want to push on the people to like also think that. So I'll try like go like this, and it can feel very FE because I'm trying to take into account their feelings, but I'm actually not. Like I'm just movable with the logic.
Or even the way you were talking about, like in high school, you would look about the groups and you would think about what people wear. I feel like people would think that that's FE, but that's also something I don't relate to at all.
Right.
But that's interesting. But anyway.
Yeah, it's a very stereotypical way of thinking about it. Yeah. Cool.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you everyone for watching. Have